Rainfall is a CSGO defusal map made by Rikuda and Chiburek. It was released a few days ago on December 17th, 2022. I never got around to review CSGO maps, so I thought better late than never. Rainfall takes place on the Faroe Islands, north of Denmark. It's a quaint little village on a cliffside, and what I absolutely loved about this was the titular rain effect in the map. The pitter-patter of the raindrops falling onto the map, the birds chirping, and the distant sound of thunder. It combines together to be such a relaxing atmosphere. I absolutely love maps which feature rain and a cloudy weather or snow in a snowy landscape. With rain I can relate because in the summer we get a lot of rain here, and it hits close to the heart when I see it in the game. Snow because I've only seen snow once in my life, and seeing it depicted in a game makes it feel wondrous. Anyway, the map itself is fairly small, with spawns on the opposite side of each other, 3 routes in the middle, and the bomb site close to the CT spawn. The map itself is very well designed visually, and I almost like the 3D skybox in this map more than the map itself. There's a small village you can see in the distance, a waterfall and mountains overshadowing it all. I've been very interested in places like Denmark, Iceland, Norway, Finland, Sweden, and Greenland. There are areas in those places that just don't feel like reality, but rather something out of a fantasy world. So, looking at this map and imagining myself walking through this place, I felt a strange, calm sensation which I can only hope to feel someday by going there in reality. While recording this footage, I kept thinking about the engine that this is all running on, the Source engine. It is such an anomaly, isn't it? How a game engine like that can survive 2 decades in the industry, while its contemporaries from its time period have withered away into obscurity. Would you call it an obsession of Valve's to keep it all updated all these years? Why didn't they follow in other developers' footsteps and release Source 2 and Source 3 after every 5 or 6 years? Would that have been more beneficial? Well, it doesn't matter because Valve always tried to be unique with their stuff. They made Source 1 to be the be-all, end-all engine, created in a way that made it leagues ahead of its competitors at the time, and strong enough to butt heads with modern engines even today. Call it their madness or sheer genius thinking, but they made a game engine almost 20 years ago that was designed to survive the next 20 years. Even up till this day, commercial games are being developed on it, with the last proper release happening in 2020 with Black Mesa when it got the Zen levels. There's even MCV, which was released recently on early access that uses CSGO's branch of the engine. Source 2's introduction would have marked a new modding revolution like Source's did, if it only had a much more accessible game to go alongside it. Life Alyx might be an amazing game, but its install base is tiny, even today compared to what Half-Life 2's install base was in its few years. Counter-Strike Source coming out a year earlier was also an amazing push for the engine, a great benefit for players of the time to learn the map editor and start making new maps. All of that snowballed over the years into a modding scene that is only comparable to the classic Doom modding scene. And I find it odd how everyone jokes about Hammer Editor being a nightmare to use, yet creates such amazing mods and games with it. The sheer determination of the modders that use it makes me have a new level of respect for them. Another thing that I think about is that if Valve released something else instead of a VR game, I think most of the community would have jumped on board. But HLA is VR, man, I can't play it yet, and I have no interest in what's going on in that sphere. But imagine if Half-Life Alyx wasn't a VR game. Imagine if it was a normal shooter game. I think we would have had a lot of mods for it. Countless mods that we would have been playing right now. It would have had an amazing following. Not saying that it doesn't now, but it would have been remarkable if it were a normal game. You see, the thing is, a lot of people get confused when I say something like this, but you have to take in account that not all of us live in the first world. I myself am from South Asia, from Pakistan. I can't afford a headset. But maybe one day. I think HLA should have come out at a time where VR would have been more accessible to everyone around the world. But right now, only a few handful of countries and the players living in them have access to VR. They can afford it. I can't. But anyway, the original Source engine is truly an immortal engine. One of its kind to last decades, brings so many people to modding and game development. I'd say its immortality might be at an end though. As soon as Valve releases a proper and accessible game like Counter-Strike Source or Half-Life 2, Source 2 is very well on its way to take the throne. But regardless of what happens in the future, Source is definitively one of the best engines ever made. Hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little different, but I couldn't stop thinking about this topic and the map looked really good to show you. Thank you for watching, and a big thanks to these members for supporting the channel: Copfighter, Jason, Mistress Baban, TTG, Winter, Alien Grunt, Mark Jellin, A Normal Street Lamp, Marsleon, Klaus, T-Boy301, HL1+1, TRR Droid, The Hazardous Memer, Bipolit the Fighter, Forgotten, and Skyclad. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.